So we jump back then to Tom, and Tom is just coming over, and he's going to release the stranger from the tree, who's still trapped in there. I don't know how long he was in there. He's probably in there for a good while. So he releases him with the exact words from the book, and the same as Treebeard in the Lord of the Rings as well. However, there's no releasing song. He just kind of comes over, and it's like, in the books, he comes over and he sings the song, and that's what releases him. And then after the hobbits come out, he says those words like, "You should not be waking, dig deep, drink water, go to sleep." Whereas here, that's the only thing he says, just that you should not be waking.
Same as Treebeard in the movie, I suppose.
Same as Treebeard in the movie, but I was like, oh, that's just a little like tip of the cap in the movie to Tom Bombadil. I expected Tom to have a song to actually get the tree to release them, but I'm not going to go back and say that it's all terrible, but just like, that's what was their decision. Then the stranger asks, "Who are you?" And Tom says, "Back in the Withywindle, folk used to call me Bombadil. Tom Bombadil." Very Bond, James Bond kind of vibes, I thought. I was like, Bond, Tom Bond, or Bombadil, James Bombadil. Then the stranger is having a bath. We cut to that, and Tom is singing with Goldberry. And when I saw the scene, I was like, this is class. And Tom comes in, and he like throws him the soap. He's like, "Wash your face and scrub behind your ears." I was like, this is giving me definite like book vibes. And it was just really reminiscent of the Fellowship of the Ring
mom
book. Mom vibes as well. So that was quite nice. But then the stranger questions who is out there with Tom, and he says, "I thought I heard a woman." And Tom says, "Woman? What woman? Is no one else here with you? You're here. That is, I think you are. Are you?" And the stranger says, "Yes." And then Tom kind of chuckles and laughs and exits. So I don't really know what's going on there. When I heard Goldberry singing, and he was like, "Come on, Goldberry, don't be bashful," and she joins in and starts singing, I was like, oh, this is amazing. Now I'm interested to hear your opinions on this, so I'll come back to that in a moment. But I want to know what's going on with this Goldberry character. If she's just kind of something that maybe she's a spirit that comes to Tom from time to time, and he doesn't want to tell anybody that she's around, or I don't know, maybe it's I guess we'll see. Hopefully that wasn't just a one-hit wonder. Hopefully we'll get to hear what was actually happening there. So then the stranger joins Tom by the fire, and Tom does some fire magic, and he turns the map into bread, and he talks about the stars as newcomers, which Dave, you mentioned there, and I just written down in my notes, talks about stars as newcomers, and then in parentheses, cool, because I thought it was quite cool, that part. I thought was really cool. Really interesting. I like that dialogue there. And the stranger asks who he is again, and once more to us who have read the books, Tom says, "Don't you know my name yet? That's the only answer. Tell me, who are you, alone, yourself, and nameless? But you are young, and I am old. Eldest, that's what I am." Then the stranger asks, "What do you mean, eldest?" And Tom replies, "Eldest," and nothing else. And cool. I really love that. I really love that scene. It threw me off the first time he pronounced eldest, because he says, I can't remember how he says it. He says he says eldest. He puts the emphasis on the end of the word, and I was like, that's not how you say that word. What are you doing? But then he goes on, and he says, "Tom was there before the river and the trees. Tom remembers the first raindrop and the first acorn." And then Tom explains that the whole area used to be green and is now sand, and that's basically the reason he had to come and see for himself. The stranger suggests that the tree could lend him a branch, and Tom says that he should have tried asking the tree for the branch. And then we get some more fire magic from Tom, and the stranger is blown away by this, and he asks Tom to teach him how to wield a staff. And Tom replies, "A wizard's staff is like a name. It's yours to wield already, if you prove yourself worthy of it. You show today that you're not yet." And he says, "Whether you can become so, we shall soon discover." The stranger then remarks that he was never meant to find the stars, and that he was meant to find Tom. Then they hear these hoofs, and they see these people arriving, and they're more of these Gaudrum, is that what they were called? Yeah. And the stranger asks why they are hunting him and his friends, and Tom tells him that he's not the first Istar to have shared his fire, and that the Dark Wizard arrived many years ago and probably started out like the stranger, desiring to control magic, but then his strength grew and his power grew, and now he controls basically all of Rune, but he still desires more, according to Tom. but he won't achieve it until he gains a more powerful ally. And then they mention, okay, this is Sauron, that the ally that they want to, that the Dark Wizard wants to align himself with. So now again, who is this Dark Wizard? If he may end up teaming up with Sauron, I mean, there's possibilities that this could potentially be like the Witch King, because we know he was a sorcerer or whatever before. Or I thought maybe, this could be Camul. He could end up being the Easterling who becomes one of the ring race as well. Although I think just Tom's mention of the fact that he is one of the Istar, or one of the Istari, that would kind of rule them all out. So he can't be the Witch King and he can't be Camul. He has to be one of the 5 Istari. So I'll get your opinions on that as well. The last thing then is Tom tells the stranger that his task is to face both of these Dark Wizard and Sauron. And we've already mentioned a couple of those things again, but I just wanted to go through it all and go back to you, Dave. That scene as a whole, anything in particular? Give me first of all your thoughts on that scene with Goldberry. Did you enjoy that little cameo? Did you see into it more than I did?
No, not really. I thought it was. I thought it was nice. It was nice to hear her in the background, but I'll tell you my thoughts on some of the other stuff, and maybe Harry's got more to say on that, because I don't know. I didn't really understand what was going on.
Yeah, it's a bit confusing. Yeah,
but for some of the other stuff, I thought the whole thing with the tree, or what's his name again, Mr. I was about to say the Whomping Willow, with the tree, where he was like rescuing the stranger out of the tree.
Old Man Ironwood.
Old Man Ironwood, yeah. I kind of just felt like, we're doing this throwback again, like they did it in Peter Jackson's, which was a nod, and now we're going again. But a
little bit unnecessary, was it?
Little bit. Getting on to Kieran Hines' character, as soon as Tom Bombadil was like, you're not the first Eastar to have sat with me here and eaten, I immediately thought, like, this guy is one of the Blue Wizards, and obviously the stranger is going to be the other one, so that gave me hope. But then immediately the stranger was like, oh, you're talking about Sauron, and I was like, so I don't know. I think we've already talked so much about who the identity of the stranger is. We didn't learn much anything newer in this episode, apart from a lot more Easter eggs and references. But I think that's all I have to say on that. Like, Harry, if you have any more information on Goldberry.
Before you come in, Harry, just want to ask you what you meant with that, Dave, when you said that he was talking about the other Eastar and then he said Sauron. Because he said to him, you're not the only Istar to share my fire, and he spoke about the other Istar, and he was referring to the Dark Wizard.
No, he was referring to the Dark Wizard, and he basically said something about the Dark Wizard needs one other person to like
more
fulfill
powerful.
his task. To be, to become more powerful. And I felt like, is this going to be the kindling of these two wizards?
Well, it could still be. It could still be. Tom might be reading it wrong, or maybe he might be telling him exactly what he needs to hear.
Exactly. And the stranger immediately just went, Sauron, and I was like, okay, right. I was wrong there.
Okay, sorry. I wasn't sure what you meant. I thought you meant that he thought that Sauron had sat by his fire with him or something like that. Sorry, I just wanted to clear that up. So Harry, any other thoughts on any of that? And then also maybe the Goldberry reference?
Yeah, so I don't think we'll see Goldberry this season. I think that hopefully could be something we'll see in a future season if they come back to Tom. I feel like it's meant to be more of an Easter egg more than anything. And if it is meant to be an Easter egg, it means probably that maybe he knows Goldberry's real. The audience knows Goldberry is real. The stranger doesn't. I think they're playing it on that dynamic like that. So that's my opinion on that. So she is real. She is in the world, but it's just meant to be something that they're just not approaching this season. That is all.
I feel like if they wanted to do that, they could have done some sort of like the stranger like sees a kind of a blurry vision of her walking off, and he's like, did I see someone? Was that? And then Tom just kind of doesn't mention it, but I
think maybe they thought they'd have to make a costume and everything, a design for her, because then once you go to that length, you might as well just have her in the show. So
again,
but who's the voice?
This is off like this is just I'm assuming the voice is the same one that appears on the album. Who she sings 2 different songs. She sings.
Okay, right, yeah.
So I can't remember her name either. But when you listen to the album, her name is listed there as well. She's got a beautiful voice. I just imagine the sandstorm. The thing happens. That sort of throws the stranger off. He bumps his head. He kind of wakes up and he's in a bit of a daze. And he sort of sees Tom, and he sees this kind of blurry vision of he hears the voice of Goldberry, sees a blurry vision, and then the stranger doesn't know, was that just me hallucinating, or was that me kind of coming to, or was she real? But then maybe he could ask Tom, by the way, did I see a woman earlier? And that's where Tom could kind of go, oh, don't know what you mean. So, but the fact that he hears someone singing and then he walks out and there's no one there, I just thought it was quite strange just the way it was done.
Yeah.